Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Prep Time. I'm Justin Barrientos, and I'm here in the halls of Cotter High School, which are empty right now, but in the fall they'll be full once again, and Cotter goes under a little bit of a transition as they move from the Hiawatha Valley League to the Three Rivers Conference. We'll have that story for you in just a moment. We'll also have a story on Crystal Francois. She's the Winona Senior High School diver who is the only Winona High athlete to sign an official letter of intent to participate in college athletics next season. But first we start with Cotter sophomore George Wiggy. Wiggy had a breakout season for Cotter football this year. He helped the Ramblers win the last 2 regular season games and also win a playoff game for the first time since 2007. And if that wasn't enough, Wiggy helped the Winona High wrestling team to their first conference dual meet victory since 2005.
We bumped him up against Century, and that helped us win that duel, and I knew we would be able to beat that kid, so we were okay there. There was a couple matches before that where we were a little nervous, but once George got up, we knew we were in good shape.
That match, I just got goosebumps thinking about that match. That was what I would call a moment right there. It was one of the most memorable things that I'll ever experience, like in sports, because when it came down to it, we were down 32 to 36. Yeah, 32 to 36 we were down. And before I went out on the match, I looked at Will Craig Schmidt. He's our only senior. And he looked me in the eye, and he started to open his mouth, and I said, Will, just be quiet, I got it. And I went out there, and I wrestled like I knew how to wrestle, and I wrestled with a purpose is what it came down to. I knew I needed to win the match, and I knew I couldn't just win. I knew I had to either get a tech fall or a pin. So I was going out there with a mission, and I just executed my plan. We
made some good progress this year. The success that George had, I think, is, again, it's something that his teammates can look to that too and say, this is what I need to do to be able to have that kind of success.
I can't believe that it came down to me. It was so awesome. Looking back at it, when that match was over, just everybody, it was like this big weight had just been lifted off all of our shoulders. Everybody was just so happy. So now carrying that into next season, knowing that we're not necessarily at the bottom anymore. It's not always about being at the top, but it's always about improving.
It's one of those things that, again, the hardest thing I think in athletics is changing that culture of losing. And when you're in those close matches, because I'll tell you what, we had a few close matches this year too that we just came up on the short side of. And I think it's that mentality of, okay, we're there, and now how do you kind of push it over the edge?
That was just the beginning of a dream season for Wiggy, who made it to state, knocking off top-seeded Mitchell Ewell in the 220-pound weight class in the first round of the state tournament in a nearly 8-minute double overtime match.
When I went up to state and I wrestled, the number 1 ranked kid in the state, my coach Adam Hockey talked with me. He said this word for word. He said, I have more potential in one finger than he ever did in his high school career. I look at myself and I don't think that, but he looks at me and he sees somebody who could be really, really good. He just told me, I've wrestled with you and I know that you're capable of beating anybody. So don't let the fact that he's ranked number 1 get to your head, and don't go out on the first round. He said, go up there and don't be satisfied with just making the tournament. Go up there and get yourself a medal to bring home. And I just got goosebumps again. It's really, really cool stuff. Just having that extra little nudge, saying, I know how good you are, I know what you can do, just go out there and do it. That really helped me a lot.
Well, he's got a nasty headlock, and if you go upstairs with him and you mess with the head, and he'll throw anybody. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you play around with George, you're going to get in trouble, and they didn't know that about him, and that played into his hands.
I would say I was more angry than anything, because I had actually wrestled this guy the year before, and he beat me, I think, 5-2 or something like that. So he beat me the year before, and I knew, all right, this guy's not bad, so I need to go out there and I need to wrestle well. And I prayed a whole bunch before I went out, and that's every match. Every match that I go out there, that's huge for me. Just making sure that I remember, why this is all happening.
The win was not only a needed win for the Winona High program, but it was historical for the Cotter sophomore, who became the first ever Cotter wrestler to make the state tournament.
I told him he's probably going to be a trivia question forever now in terms of what Cotter wrestler went to the state tournament. I'm not aware that we've ever had any other wrestler that's gone to the state tournament.
And honestly, when I was working with him in football, I had no idea he had the wrestling background and wanted to be a great wrestler too. But I'm not surprised at all by George's success. He's an extremely hard worker, and that's the number one thing. He's also somebody that really cares a lot, and George is going to put the time in. He's very coachable.
Oh, students were so proud of him and so excited, and we were all like watching on the internet and trying to see, how he did, and it's hard when it's away from school and we couldn't all be there. But people were very, very, very proud of him.
All the teachers who I don't even have, they came up to me and congratulated me. And, that first day back, I don't think I saw one person that didn't say, hey, good job, or congratulations, or, something nice to say. So just coming back, and knowing that, people might not always say things to me like when the season's going on, but, after it's all said and done, they recognize what I've accomplished, and, they're willing to give that recognition. And, that's one of the best parts about Cotter is that, people are just so genuine.
Despite his success in wrestling, George Wiggy's favorite sport is football.
Football, it's just, I like to tackle, and that's why they put me at inside linebackers, just because, I just kind of run and do my own thing, and I just get tackles for them. So that base form of tackling, just getting low and learning how to use your body, that really, really helps with wrestling.
I think he really improved as the season went on. He was a good player when we began the season, but his importance to our team grew week after week as he picked up a little bit bigger of a role. But really what he brings to our team along with that is just his emotion. Football is an emotional game, and we have a lot of players that sometimes need to be needled a little bit to let it out, to play with emotion, and to kind of give that extra 10% or whatever it is that you're unknowingly holding back. And George plays with that kind of emotion. It really helps. I think the rest of our guys know that it's a fun sport. You can run around and yell and scream and get excited and play with emotion, and we need a nudge sometimes. So I think that's, along with his abilities, I think that's one of the biggest things he brought.
When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, football, I know I belong on a football field, and I've already been thinking about it for days and days and days. I helped with the Cotter auction. Coach let us wear our jerseys when we were helping people carry stuff out to their cars, and when he handed our jerseys out, I was like, Coach, where are the shoulder pads at? And he started laughing and whatever. But I'm really excited to have my football season back and to be with the guys again, and just ready for another season.
George actually has been named a captain for us. Yep. And so now that puts the pressure on him, and I'll keep putting the pressure on him and our other captains, that there's a lot of responsibility that goes along with that. Like I said, first and foremost, working and being present and showing people what it takes to be good.
Wiggy will take the football field as captain for the first time for the Cotter football team when that sport starts up again in August. The Ramblers are looking to improve on a 4-6 record from last season. Coming up here on Prep Time, we will take a look at Crystal Francois from Winona Senior High School, the diver who will participate for UW Green Bay, a Division I school, next season.
Winona Homes was offered a deal from another company.
I switched to another company because they made some promises and I was going to get a better rate, so I switched.
But when she tried their deal, she ran into some issues.
The other company that I was with wasn't local. You couldn't even get somebody to come to your office.
At HPC, customer service is our #1 priority for your business. Let's just say Jenny is a lot happier now.
I have never had such fast customer service.
To see how HBC can help your business, call Melanie at 474-5802.
Join me, Justin Barrientos, for Prep Time on HBC 25. We'll take a close look at area high school athletes, coaches, administrators, and even go back to explore past athletes and stories that built the history of your favorite prep teams. Stories you won't find anywhere else. You can catch Prep Time at the following times only on HBC 25.
Be sure to check out US Golf TV, where you are going to see golf products that you have never seen before. You're also going to see golf tips from some of the leading instructors around the country that are truly changing the way people are teaching the game and challenging the status quo. Also, you're going to see fitness tips that are revolutionizing the way PGA Tour pros are training their body and swinging the golf club. If you want something different, if you're looking for some new information, US Golf TV has it. Be sure to check your local listings. US Golf TV, we've got you covered.
If you have a question or a comment about this or any other Prep Time show, or you have a story idea that you think that we should cover, you can always email us at preptime@hbci.com. We'd love to hear your comments and your story ideas. And welcome back to Prep Time. I'm here at the Jewel Gurnis Pool on the campus of St. Mary's University of Minnesota as we take a look at the definition of a multi-sport athlete. Winona High's Crystal Francois only had to decide what sport she wanted to pursue in college and where she wanted to go.
We're certainly very pleased and proud to announce that Crystal Francois is going to sign her letter of intent today to dive at University of Wisconsin-Green Bay next year.
I chose Green Bay mainly because it was just like their coach came to me and that like meant a lot to me. I didn't know how to feel about it because like he said again I was going to play softball and it was out of my mind completely to dive in college. And it's just like, even when he called the first time and talked to me, I was not really thinking. I was just like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to you, but it's probably not going to happen again. So it was that, and then I made the visit, and it was just a really friendly atmosphere. And all of the parents of the divers came up to me personally and introduced themselves, and I thought that was really kind of a cool thing because it was something I wasn't expecting.
They usually come looking for people at the D1 level because there's something special about them. All right, and she's clearly a special athlete, and I know she'll be successful wherever she goes.
4 years ago, I had two kind of regular-looking people come showing up on my pool deck. Rob Murray had just put in a dryland board at his gymnastics club, and he had been letting his team play around on it.
My youngest daughter decided that she wanted to do diving also. And so it motivated me to finally install a dryland diving board. And so we actually have 2 boards in the gym now. We tried a few things that are kind of challenging for divers a lot, and one of them was a reverse dive and a reverse one. And she caught on very quickly, and I pulled her out to the side and I said, you know, I hate to say this, but you should think about taking a look at the diving team, or at least work with JJ a little bit. This could be a lot of fun for you, and I think you'd be good. And turns out she was.
And he showed up with Crystal on my pool deck saying, well, I think she's got a lot of potential to be a good diver. Well, I was a little skeptical, but decided to give it a shot. And then Rob also informed me, he's like, she might be a little bit of a handful. He really wasn't kidding.
Crystal's been Crystal the Pistol. She's a lot of energy. She's fun. She's loud. She's a pain. She's all those things, and she's a great athlete. She's a personality to be learned a little bit, but she's fun. Anybody that knows her knows where I'm stumbling a little bit on this, but she's worthy as a coach to invest your time in, absolutely.
Crystal Francois may be indescribable just because she is so good at whatever she tries.
The thing that strikes me as I look at what Crystal has accomplished as a student athlete here is not just as a diver. She is a 3-sport athlete and has absolutely excelled at all 3 of those sports. And that's the amazing part about her accomplishments. Crystal is an absolutely shining example of what a multi-sport athlete can be. She had certainly a long career in gymnastics, certainly spent a lot of time in the gym, and certainly those skills carried over to what she's been able to do as a diver. But not only has she had tremendous success as a diver, as a gymnast, and now in the softball field here in the spring as well. This is an absolutely amazing piece of information now. She is all conference. She has been named all conference in all 3 sports. We have one other student in this high school that the same can be said.
These past 2 years has really shown us what she's capable of, but I don't think we've scratched the surface. I mean, the talent is still untapped. I'm really looking forward to see what she can do off of the 3-meter boards and what she can accomplish in the future with the 1-meter. She's doing a dive that nobody else in the state was even attempting. This past year was the big year for holding her reverse 1 somersault 2.5 twists. That was our highest scoring dive that she ever had. Helped her out with winning as many meets as we did. But that's also what brought Tom Stover's view to her into his radar. He called me up and we were talking, and after I sent him a video, he's like, so reverse somersault 2.5 twists, how'd that come about? And I really don't remember.
I don't even know. It was kind of, I screwed around a lot at practice. It's something I was really good at. And so, yeah, we like to have fun. You can't always be serious.
Crystal was serious enough to put on a GoPro camera to show us from her perspective what her dives look like.
The big thing is, keeping my head down, because after every dive, that's what I get. Keep your head down. Focus on my jump and ride the board. It's pretty automatic. I don't really think about that kind of stuff anymore. But otherwise, like the twisting and the flipping, it's all just natural to me, I guess. And 14 years of gymnastics helps a lot. I don't know, like everyone's different, obviously. So some people are like, okay, I want to train this over and over until I get it. And I'm just kind of like, well, I do it once and I'm good. I'll do it tomorrow, maybe. Just messing around, it helps a lot because it gets my mind off of it, and I get frustrated really easily.
So really, how did the reverse somersault 2.5 twist come about?
And so I was just like, okay, there was a girl from Faribault actually that did a reverse one somersault 1.5 twist, and I thought it was really cool. And so one day at practice, I was like, okay, let's try it. And I only got to a half at first, and I just didn't understand the concept of the dive. And then one day at practice, I was like, okay, I'll try more. And so I went for 1.5, and then within like 2 days, I'd say I had the 2.5, and that's kind of how it came to be. It's like jumping off the board forward, but flipping backwards and twisting 2.5 times.
It's kind of a scary, dangerous dive. You have to have a lot of guts and know where you're at all times when you're in the air. I mean, all of your sensors getting thrown all about you. You don't. It's kind of throwing it out of control, but being in control at the same time.
It's one of those things, you know, you have a little signature thing or you have something that is unique and just kind of catches the eye of a coach who's seen a lot of the other things, even a lot of those other things really clean.
Because I knew she didn't really look at diving as a career path for considering in college, but I knew that there was going to be colleges coming to ask. I mean, just being at some of the meets that we were at and knowing some of the college coaches that I do, being a college coach myself, I knew that she was going to be on their radar. And there was only a amount of time before she'd probably finally give in, and I hoped she would give in.
It's unrealistic. It's a relief knowing that I have somewhere to go. And it's like I'm wanted there, you know, and I'm just really excited. I can't wait.
How does Crystal feel about leaving the Winona High swimming and diving program?
Those girls are my family. It's really hard leaving them, and I really did have a good 4 years here, and I will miss them a lot.
We butted heads a lot, but overall, I mean, it turned out to be a great match. It was always a lot of fun to coach her. It was always a lot of fun to have her on the pool deck. Yeah, it's going to be a great loss for our team not having her there, but she's going off to a great school and also a great team, and I'm really excited to see what she's going to be able to do there.
Crystal will join a group of Winona-associated people at UW Green Bay, including Winona High's Alec Brown, Cotter graduate and women's basketball assistant coach Sarah Bronk, volleyball assistant coach Patrick Bolin, and Crystal's next coach, Winona native Tom Stover. Next on Prep Time, we look at Cotter High School's move to the Three Rivers Conference from the HVL.
We're a small town store. Everything relies on our internet, our pumps, our registers, everything. So we need somebody that is willing to go that extra mile for us. Jill is awesome. She is very personable. When we call them, they react to us as if we are top on their list. And to me, that is number one. I've had excellent service.
Call Jill and find out what excellent business service is like.
Join me, Justin Barrientos, for Prep Time on HBC 25. We'll take a close look at area high school athletes, coaches, administrators, and even go back to explore past athletes and stories that built the history of your favorite prep teams. stories you won't find anywhere else. You can catch Prep Time at the following times only on HBC 25.
Hi, I'm Colleen Bushman, and I am HBC. I'm the Customer Service Director located in the Winona office. I love sewing, photography, and spending time with my new grandson, and HBC Internet allows me to see him anytime I want. HBC's customer service team is here to ensure that every experience you have with HBC is a positive one, whether you're signing up for new service, making changes to your existing account, or just stopping in to pay your bill and say hi. You will always feel welcome when you visit me.
We are HBC.
And welcome back to Prep Time. As I said at the top of the show, it's a bit of a transition year for Cotter Athletics. For the first time since the 1981-82 school year, the Ramblers will not be a part of the Hiawatha Valley League. They asked for and were granted admittance into the Three Rivers Conference for the start of this school year.
One of the primary reasons that we did it was for our kids. Like we said, the travel distance for the HVL was a lot greater from where we're located in, southeast Minnesota, and it was a great conference, and we love the relationships that we have with the schools there, and with the administration there. It's really, really great. But at the end of the day, we had to do what was best for our kids, and they frankly were just spending way too much time on the road, which meant less sleep, less time for homework, more time out of the classroom. I believe if you averaged out the mileage for all the schools in both conferences, we're saving ourselves an average about 20 to 25 miles per trip.
Cotter had applied a number of years ago and it didn't work out, and the obvious advantage is distance of travel. Now in cross country we tend to be fairly close anyways. We're in Rochester a lot, and so that won't make a huge difference that way. And but in the other sports, I think it's going to be great. I mean, I'm thinking about spring sports or basketball on a Tuesday night. You're going to Cannon Falls, where instead of Lewiston or St. Charles or Rushford, and I think that for parents and students, that's a huge advantage.
And more than anything, really, I think the travel is going to be a big help for our students. It's tough to get back at 10:30, 11 o'clock on school nights and things like that. It's tough to leave school early. And those things will all be diminished significantly with the move to the Three Rivers. And the more fun, I think, will be the national rivalries that will exist with Lewiston, St. Charles, Wabasha, Rushford. We already have some rivalries with Caledonia, Kingsland in the HVL, in the non-conference games. But now to have them as conference opponents is going to be a lot of fun. But I'm looking forward to coming home from Lewiston and being home for dinner. A basketball game, being home by 9 o'clock. It's just going to be a whole different situation. I think it's a really good move for our school.
St. Charles, that's a great pickup because you're 20 minutes down the road and there's no other team we play that's that close. So that is a great, they double play in their conference, which is not true of Hiawatha Valley. We played everybody once. Some people you may have played twice just as an option. But to know that we'll play St. Charles as an away game is so nice and close.
The fact that our longest trip is an hour and 15 minutes, which I think in our other conference, HVL, that's average. And so getting our kids home earlier so that they can study and not be gone so far will be a wonderful thing. It'll also be good for our parents too. We do have parents that travel and to our away games, and this will make life a little bit easier for them too. They have to take off less work, things like that. But really we'll be playing schools more of our own size. And just the geographic proximity will really be a plus for us.
For football, it's actually, we're going to the Southern Football Alliance. So when Cotter went to the Three Rivers for all sports, it started kind of a chain reaction where the schools were like, well, we need to look at this football thing. And what they did was they took the HVL and the Three Rivers, they threw them in a big hat, and then they split them up by school size. So there's a red, white, and blue division, the big schools, the medium schools, and the small schools. So it realigned us. For us, it's great. It's great. Our travel's going to be better. We're going to have some more, what I would think were our natural rivalry type games, playing the Lewistons and St. Charles and Dover Yoda, all schools that we drove by for almost every game in the last 2 years. We just drove right by those schools, and now we'll be playing those schools. So we're excited about it. Good football teams. We still play Lourdes and Triton and ZM, and hold on to some of those old rivalries from the HVL. So for us, it's going to be great.
What about the classic rivalries that Cotter had with schools like Rochester Lourdes and Lake City?
Well, they're still going to be there. Yep. Actually, we open up with Lourdes in football in game 1, and that's part of a different agreement with the Southern Football Alliance between the two conferences. So it just so happens that Lourdes is they're in the highest division, but there's one crossover game between the highest division and the mid division, and our pick for year 1 was Rochester Lourdes. So we'll still have that. In basketball next January, we're going to run a boys and girls JV varsity doubleheader at Lourdes in their new gym. The following year, we'll come back. So we're definitely going to keep some really good non-conference games with the schools in the HVL.
Yeah, I think you still want to schedule those games, and I think particularly for in basketball, you have enough games where you can keep those rivalries going. Football, obviously, you're pretty much playing conference games. So it depends sport by sport. But as time goes on, rivalries change, and I think that your rivalries are best when you're at a high level, and so those can be redeveloped, and I think we'll get some new ones. And I think geographically being closer, rivalries that's really what drives it most, because it's easier to attend the games for student body and parents.
Oh, no question, and we are trying to keep those rivalries. Lourdes, we will be playing in basketball again, but it'll be a little different. Being a non-conference game, it won't quite have the same to it. It'll still be a fun game and all that, but it won't have conference significance and things like that. So we'll definitely miss that. Zumbrota Mazeppa and softball, we've had a long-standing rivalry with those, and all the schools in the HVL and certain sports. Hayfield and girls basketball, many great games in the Hayfield gym. That we'll definitely miss going there. So it'll be different. But at the same time, when you start something new, it's exciting as well. We'll be brand new in the league. And even though we've played a lot of these teams, it'll be different being a conference game in January and hopefully vying for some conference championships and developing some new rivalries in our league. And at the same time, in some ways, it's the best of both worlds, because we'll be able to keep our rivalry with Lourdes. And I know we're playing Stewartville and some things, and Lake City, and so we'll keep some of those rivalries as well.
How does Cotter match up with their somewhat new opponents in the Three Rivers Conference?
One of the things with soccer is that the Three Rivers is a smaller conference, so a lot of the schools in the conference don't have teams. For whatever reason, we played most of the Three River teams last year, so we're familiar with them. And I actually thought that our level was more comparable to their level, so in working on the schedule for this year, I asked to do a home and away type of thing with them, with the Three Rivers, so we can fill up our schedule and feel better about ourselves.
We already play everybody in the conference, so they're part of our section, so we see them in playoffs as well. But Cotter as a whole schedules those as our non-conference games, so it's nobody new. The teams we're playing, that's a smaller conference, and I think overall, at least on the girls soccer side, it's an even conference. The teams we play, there'll be 5 of us now, and the teams we play, Caledonia, PEM, Dover, Iota, St. Charles, ourselves, it's going to be an even matched up for grabs.
I really believe in football. You play the game that's on your schedule, and you have to keep getting better from week to week. I don't think it helps us. I don't think it hurts us. We've got to play 8 games against good football teams, and we need to try to win each one at a time, and get better as the year goes on. And then when we get in the playoffs, we'll get a seed, and they'll put us against somebody, and we got to beat them. So it doesn't. To me, it's not really a big difference, and to me, we're still playing some really good teams.
So I've been going to the Three Rivers superintendent meetings all year. Jenny Carpenter has been going to the AD meetings all year. So even though we aren't official members yet, we've been going and participating and trying to get up to speed. They just recently admitted La Crescent to the Three Rivers Conference as well. So that's another person on our side of the state. So that'll be great to have them as well.
We're very excited, and we're just kind of on the wait and see program, and let's see how it really is. But it's really exciting. It's a time of change, and it's I think that close proximity, like you're talking about, even with senior high, it maybe stirs up a little bit more rivalry, but I think that competitive rivalry is also what makes sports so fun.
Cotter first tried to join the Three Rivers Conference back in 2004, but were denied at that time. The The move to the TRC this season is expected to save Cotter students 200 miles of travel distance just this year. That's all the prep time that we have for you here. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.